Good day, and today we are here for the special session we are going to have that is related to the USA. Mr. Sanket is there with us who will be taking us to the journey for USA company setups along with some taxation and auditing knowledge as well, right? So to before we begin for the session, uh, just wanted to understand, guys, is my voice audible? If you can comment in the chat box, I will just open the chat box as well here. You can start typing here and just share the comments that yes, my voice is audible, my screen is visible to you. Please comment in the chat box. Use that YouTube chat box or comment box to type in. Many people have joined right now, and I would request all to please start answering. Mr. Honey has said yes. I will also share the screen. Is the screen also visible? I will then zoom that particular screen. Okay, perfect. I think everyone is perfectly able to watch. Just a second. Let me zoom it out. Okay, perfect. So basically, my name is Kapil Talreja and I am the host of this event. We are now here for the webinar on USA. Sanket is there along with me, who will be taking us to the journey to company setup in USA. I'm basically from Talreja and Talreja LLC, and we are basically headquartered in Dubai, and we have the rep office in Ahmedabad, Gujarat. To begin with, about us, we are basically into the kind of professional services, like we are into the audit and bookkeeping services. We are into the business setups in Gulf countries, specifically in free zones, mainland, KSA, Qatar, and all Middle East countries, you can say. You name it, and we can be available for any kind of services, right? So you can ask us for any kind of Gulf countries. We will be able to assist you in the following list of services which we have mentioned here right now. Apart from Dubai, UAE, and Gulf countries, we are also into the gift city. We are also into the UK and European countries, and we are into the Singapore, Hong Kong, and Mauritius. And last but not the least, in the USA, that is where we are. That is for what purpose we have kept the session for today's session. If I talk about our guest speaker for the event, Mr. Sanket, so he has 10 plus years of experience in assisting the entrepreneurs with company formation and international tax planning in USA. He has been practicing there in the USA market since 2015, and he's currently the founder of Sanket Garg and Company, and he's also a IPBI registered valuer as well as the enrolled agent working with various states in USA. Now, I would request Mr. Sanket to please take the charge and start with the technical session. Sanket, can you please start the session? I'll just stop sharing the link.
Yeah, sure. So, good evening, everyone, and thank you, Talreja and Talreja, for giving this opportunity so that I can come to you and present the my PPT on the on doing business in the USA. And thank you to all the participants to join this webinar. And let's start with the presentation of doing business in the US. So just hold on. Uh, let me open the PPT. So we will today discuss that what are the types of the legal entities in the US, how to form the companies in the US, what are the benefits of forming the companies in the US, and how to form the company in the US, what are the timelines, whether we can get visa or not, and there are some related questions which today we will discuss in this seminar. So as you all know that US is a global economy, and the benefit of doing the business in the global economy is that you can get the global customers from all around the globe. So it's not a closed economy. So it's a open-ended economy in which you can find the clients from the US, from the Europe, from India, from Asia, from Africa, means every part of the globe. So if you are doing the business in a economy in which you can find the people from all part of the globe, so the benefit is that you can definitely expand your business. You can get the clients, several kind of clients, wherein you can earn the money into dollars, and also you have the edge and advantage of earning more as compared to the your local markets. So that is the biggest advantage of doing business in the US. Then another advantage of doing business in the US is that the laws are very user friendly, government is very, laws are very stable, and it's not changing on a day to day basis. So like if you are familiar with any particular law and rules and regulations, so you can do the business very easily and with a free mind, without having any hesitation or something like that, okay ki, what will happen in the future and all. So that is another benefit. Then the other benefit of doing business in the US is that if you want to raise the funds, so you can easily get the investors, you can easily get the VC funds, and you can easily get the PE funds and all. And you can pitch up your idea, you can pitch your business, and if your business is good and everything is good, so you can get the funding very easily. So that is another benefit of the of doing business in the US. Now, some another benefits are like that, protection of the intellectual property, then easier access to capital and investors, friendly laws and regulations as you, then equal opportunity for the foreign business owners. So this is again one of the important advantage. See, there is a community of businessmen all over the world. So if you are an outsider and if you go into any economy, so it is very difficult for you to enter into that business zone, because the community people don't allow a new outsider to come into the into that zone and start doing the business. But in the US it's not like that, means even a foreign entrepreneur are welcome. And in the Silicon Valley, as you all know, that in the Silicon Valley there are many Indians who are the CEOs of some of the big companies. So foreign owners are being respected, and they are given equal opportunity. And again, one of the other advantage of doing business in the US is that your business will become credible. Suppose if you do the marketing in your local markets, so and if you in the local market, if you say that okay, I have a branch in the US, I have a entity in the US, or we are also doing business in the US. So definitely, in that particular case, your local client will have a more trust in you. So it's also a reputation and a brand building process which you can follow. And it's a political stable environment, so politically also you will not get that much of trouble as you are seeing in other part of the country, other part of the world. So that also another advantage. Then techno friendly country, so definitely if you are a tech savvy person, if you are if you have innovated any particular technology, so in that particular case your technology is being welcomed in the US. Then, what are the major types of the visas in US which a business person can apply? So, I am not going to discuss the details of the visa in this slide, but I am just only giving you the brief intro that what are the major types of the visas. So, there is a B1 visa. So, B1 visa is business visitor visa, which a business owner can apply even though there is no relationship between the company incorporation and all, and forming a company or doing the business and getting the visa. But if you are doing the business, so by applying these visa, you can go to US and you can explore the practically that how the physically things are being happening in the US. So B1 is visa you can apply, B2 visa you can apply, E2 visa you can apply, EB5 visa is there, but it is a costly visa because in this visa a lot of investment is required. Then H1B visa you can apply for your employees. Then L visa, L1 or L2 visa you can apply. It's an intercompany transfer visa. Means if you want to transfer the employee from one location to another location, so you can use the L1 visa. And there is a O1 visa. O1 visa is again based on the technical skills. So O1 visa also you can apply for yourself or for your employee. And there are other visas also. For example, S2A visa, S2B visa, F1, F2 visa. So these are based on the requirements. Likewise for the dependents. So for example, if you are a business owner, you are on L1 visa, so you can take another person a dependent visa. So the dependent visa can be, government is giving the dependent visa very easily. So that can be possible. Then what are the popular business models in the US? So popular business models means that what are the types of the company you can form as an international business owner. So normally people used to form the advertisement company. Means the nature and the purpose of the company is advertisement. Means suppose if you are say selling product or providing any service in India and you want to get the US clients, so you can incorporate a advertisement company in the US, wherein that company's main business is to do the advertisement, is to do the marketing and all. Okay, advertisement of the product and services and bringing the clients to Indian company. So that is one of the purpose. Similarly, marketing is another purpose wherein you can showcase your product into various trade fairs, exhibitions, and all. So you can create a marketing company, or you can create a sales generator company. You can create a after sales backend support company. So what is a sales generator company? So sales generator company means the company main business is to generate the sales leads. So you can create a US company wherein that US company generate the sales lead and pass on that sales lead to India, and then Indian company will fulfill the order. Means if the product is there or if the service is there, that completely depends. Then after sales backend support office you can create, or a drop shipping company you can create. So what is a drop shipping company? So in the drop shipping company, so the main business of the US company is to bring the business and is to pass on that business to the Indian company, and Indian company directly shipping that product to the US and client. So that is known as the drop shipping. So that drop shipping model is also again very famous in the United States. Then service selling company. So what is the service selling company? So suppose I am a chartered accountant, I am providing the tax return services. Okay, so I can open a tax firm wherein I can sell the tax return filing services or the accounting services or the IT support services, backend support services. So any kind of service you can sell, which service can be performed from the backend. Okay, or the software as a services. So there are SaaS services also. Those SaaS services, a type of company you can open. Or lastly, the important export of the product, wherein your US company main business is to import from the foreign country and selling the product into the US, or exporting from the US to another company. So it can be vice versa. So these are the some examples of the popular business model. So there can be another examples also, but I am just giving you the tentative detail of this. Then in the popular business model, then again in the product selling, there can be internal some categories. For example, bricks and clicks. So what is bricks and clicks? So bricks and clicks means you can purchase a physical store, a physical office, a physical shop, a physical showroom, and you can showcase your product. So that is known as the bricks. Then there is an online business. In the online business, it's also known as the e-commerce business. So in the e-commerce business, you can do the drop shipping, as I already discussed with you, or you can sell the product on the marketplaces. For example, Amazon, Etsy, Walmart, or another some small this online marketplaces websites are there, so you can run yourself and you can sell your product. Now, what is the difference? Only I just want to explain one difference here. that suppose if you incorporate the company in the US, and suppose if you are an Indian company, so as an Indian company, you can't able to register yourself on the marketplaces many a times. So only to get yourself registered on the US market or on the marketplaces, you have to incorporate the company. Okay, so if you incorporate a domestic entity in the US, so you will have the access to many things which a foreign company can't have. So that is one of the fit of opening the company in the US. Then business to business selling is there, or direct to customer selling also can do. Then in the service selling, so either there is a subscription model, so you can sell the product on a subscription model basis, or software as a services. So in the SaaS, you can do the freemium services, or you can charge from the first day also. Means that completely depend upon the what are the type of the services, what is the market demand, and all those factors. Now, what are the types of the legal entity structures in the US? So, suppose if you have finalized that how you, what is your, so in this, before going into deep, I just also want to clarify that in the US, there are 50 states, okay? And in the 50 states, you as a business owner or your client as a business owner has to that in which state they want to do the business, what is the best preferable state, or what is the nature of the business they want to do, or how they want to do the business, as a drop shipping model, or as a brick and mortar, they want to buy a shop and all. So that is the primary, work or primary exercise which a business owner has to do. And once the business owner has finalized that thing, then they can move on to the that what is the type of the legal entity structure they have to form in the US. So in the types of the legal entity structure, there are basically five types of the legal entity structure. So one is the sole proprietorship, second is the partnership, third is the limited liability company, fourth is the C corporation, and fifth is the S corporation. So I will correlate all these entity structure with Indian entity structure, so that you can correlate each and everything, and that would be easy to digest. So, what is a sole proprietorship? So, sole proprietorship means a individual person doing the business in his or her individual name without creating any separate legal entity. Okay, so that is the simplest form of doing business in the US. Suppose my name is Samuel, okay, and I am having a repair shop. So I have not created any legal separate entity, but whatever the income I'm generating, so I'm generating in my individual name. I'm taking the income in my individual name. So that is known as the sole proprietorship form. So in the sole proprietorship form, this can reward everything belongs to me. So if there is any liability, that liability also I have to face, and everything any assets, that assets also belongs to me. So every risk and rewards belong to me. So it is very similar to the sole proprietorship model, which many companies many people are doing into India. And the income of the sole proprietor is being shown in the individual return of the owner, business owner. Now the sole proprietor model is not beneficial for the foreign or international owners, because international owners doesn't have the SSN number. So international owners can't do the sole proprietorship business. Either though there is one way that they can take the ITIN number, and they can do the sole proprietorship business, but that is not that much advisable. Liabilities which are associated with this, so liabilities will get impacted, okay? Because in the US, the culture is that people used to sue another persons if you are not delivering proper goods, or if you are not delivering the proper services. So the disadvantage is that in the US, if you won't take the liability insurance when your business become bigger, so you have to pay a lot of fines and penalties at the end. So it's always better to have a separate legal entity, so that your personal assets will not get merged with that. Then there is another form which is known as the partnership. So partnership is just like partnership firm in India, wherein two persons or more than two persons are there. Okay, if two persons or more than two persons are there, so you can form a partnership firm. Okay, in the partnership there are again internally two types of the partnership. So one is the limited partnership and second is the limited liability partnership. So in the limited partnership has only one general partner with unlimited liability and all other partners have the limited liability. Means for example there are three partners. So three partners means one partner who is having the major share. So that partner has the unlimited liability and two other partners who are the minority shareholders, minority capital holders. So those two partners have the limited liability. So that is known as limited partnership. Then limited liability partnership means suppose three partner, four partner, five partner, every partner has the limited liability up to the capital contribution. So that is known as the limited liability partnership. The concept is very much similar as compared to India. Now, as an Indian, yes, or as an international business owner, yes, you can open a partnership firm. Okay, so suppose two persons are there in India, and those two persons want to form a partnership firm in the US. So yes, they can form a partnership firm. Then liability company. So what is limited liability company? Okay, before going to LLC, first discuss the C corporations. So what is C corporations? So C corporations are like the private limited companies in India. In C corporation, you can issue the shares, you can add the director, you can add the shareholder, you can do the meetings. So everything is similar compared to India. Only the difference is that in the C corporation, in the US, you don't need to file lot of forms. For example, in India, the registrar of companies is there, so you have to file lot of forms, MSME form, DPT form, annual forms, annual returns, and all those forms. So in the US, it's not like that. So you have not to file any kind of meetings or board resolutions or all those things. You have to keep all those things internally. Means they are saying that it is recommended that you prepare all those things, you keep all those things with you, but you don't need to file those documents anywhere. So that is the benefit of the C corporation in the US. So a corporation, sometimes called a C corporation, is a legal entity that is separate from its owners. So the liability of the C corporation is very separate from the owners. Okay. Now the taxation of the corporation is like corporation is charged by themselves. For example, whatever the profit of the corporation is there, so that profit, on that profit, corporation has to pay the taxes. Okay. Now corporation, other benefit is there. Other benefit is that suppose if you want to raise the funds from the any investor or VC fund or PE fund, so the benefit is that you can issue the shares, or you can give the restricted stock units, or you can give the share warrants or any safe investment and everything, and you can issue the shares. So suppose if you are planning to raise the funds from the US, so C corporation is the best model. Okay. Now the risk is also very high in the C corporation, because when you issue the shares, then outside people will come. So there is always a voting and all those things are there. So those kind of risks which are there in Indian company, so similar kind of risks are there in the C corporation. Now C corporation as an international owner means as an Indian owner or any another country owner, so you can create a C corporation. The number of persons required to incorporate a C corporation is one. So minimum one person can incorporate a C corporation instead of two persons in India. So in India, if you want to create a company, you require minimum two persons, minimum two directors. But in the US, to incorporate a C corporation, you require only one person, and that one person can be the director, can be the shareholder, can be the treasurer also, okay, and can be the secretary also. So one person can play all the roles. So minimum one person is there, and maximum unlimited persons can be there in the C corporation. So that is the benefit. So suppose I'm an individual person, but I don't have any partner, and I want to create a C corporation. So I need not to have any another. I'm not going to look that okay, any another person will come and then I will form the C corporation. I can individually also file the documents and I can create the C corporation. So that is the benefit of creating the C corporation in the US. Then there are the S corporations. So what is the meaning of S corporation? So S corporation are basically those corporations. The profits of these corporations are passed on to the individual shareholders. Okay. So for example, there is a corporation. So S corporations are also like a private limited company. Only the taxation of the S corporation are different. Okay. So for example, suppose there are 3% and 3% is corporation. Now now at the end of the year, so there is a profit of 3 lakh dollars. Okay, so that S corporation need not to pay the tax on the 3 lakh dollars, and this 3 lakh dollars is being divided into these three shareholders. Suppose the shareholders have all equal shareholding. So 1 by 3, 1 by 3, 1 by 3. So 1 lakh dollar, 1 lakh dollar, 1 lakh dollar will be distributed to each of the individual shareholder. And when the individual shareholder file their individual tax return, in that tax return they have to pay the taxes on that 1 lakh dollar. So that is the. Now what is the benefit of creating the S corporation? So the benefit of creating the S corporation is that you need not to pay the flat rate of tax. In the C corporation there is a flat rate of tax, okay, which is 21%. But in the S corporation there is no flat rate of the tax. In the S corporation, when the profit passed on to the individual person, so the tax has to be paid on a progressive basis. Okay, just like in India, say we have the 2,50,000 exemptions and all. So similarly in US also there is a standard deduction. After that standard deduction, there is a tax rate of 11%, 10%, 12%, 22, 24, 30, 35, and 37. So there is a slab rate benefit. So you will get this benefit. Or if your individual return is having any losses, so you will get the benefit of those losses also by setting off from this income. So that is the benefit. Now, one of the disadvantage of the S corporation is that as a non-resident means as an international owner, we can't open the S corporation. To open the S corporation, the person should be a US resident and US green card holder or US citizen. Then only you can create the S corporation, otherwise not. And in the S corporation, the maximum shareholder should be 100. Okay, so it should not reach the 100 shareholder. And in the S corporation, there can be only one class of the stock. So in the US also there are basically two kind of the shares. So one is the preferred stock, second is the common stock. So common stock is known as, is equivalent to the equity shares. Okay, and the preferred stock is equivalent to the preference shares. So in the C corporation, you can issue the preferred stock and you can issue the common stock just like the equity share capital and the preference share capital. But in the S corporation, you can issue only one type of stock, either as a preferred stock or either a common stock. Okay. Now, suppose if you create a business model in which there is a company, that company also want to become part of that company. For example, if you want to make a company as a shareholder, so only the domestic company can become shareholder of the S corporation. Okay, certain trust, estate, and all, they they can become the shareholder of the S corporation. The partnership firm or the corporations doesn't become the shareholder of the S corporation. So suppose I am a business owner, okay, and I want to create a S corporation and I want to issue the shares to any partnership firm or any C corporation, so it is not possible, or to any non-resident. So as an international owner, the concept of S corporation is not possible. Okay, and the combination is also not possible. What is the combination? So for example, if there are two owners, so one owner is a US citizen, one owner is an Indian citizen, and those two club together and they want to create a company. in the US as a S corporation. So that is also not possible. Okay, so like S corporation is only possible for citizens and the green card holders. So that is a very low attractive, this thing for us, until and unless the person is having a plan to go to US and have a green card, and after that you can form a S corporation. Okay, so these are the characteristics we have already discussed. Okay, now this is an example that what is the proposed capital structure you can keep for a INC, for an INC, either a S corp or a C corp. Suppose there is an option one. In the option one, you can create a US INC, and the 100% shareholding can be kept by a company. Okay, so this I'm only talking for, not the S corporation, because S corporation issue the shares to the US company. So I'm not talking about the S corporation. I'm C corp, C US company. So that is model one. In model number two, US company can issue the 100% shareholding to the individual person. In model number three, US company can Indian company as individual. So like 9 shareholding can be of the Indian, holding can be of the individual, or there be any ratio. Means this is an example only. So ratio can be any ratio. Then in the fourth example, suppose there are two individuals. So those individuals also can take 50% and 50% as a shareholding in the US company. Then there is a fifth example. So in this fifth example, suppose there is a US company, we have incorporated a US INC, which 1% shareholding can be held by an individual or an entity, and 99% sharing can be held by an Indian company, and then that company can be held by an Indian ultimate company. So these can be the business models. There can be another kind of the entity structure, but these are just examples I have just given. Now coming to the LLC. What is LLC? So now LLC is a mixture of the partnership firm and the company. So LLC is a hybrid model, we can say. So now LLC is very famous and very popular in US. Okay. So an LLC lets you take advantage of the benefit of both the corporation and partnership business structure. Because in the LLC again, there can be minimum one person. So with a one person, you can create a limited liability company. Okay. And the benefit of the LLC is that your liability will get protected. Suppose in the US, if you are doing the business, you have taken a loan and you are unable to repay the loan. So in that particular case, if the government sues you, so government will not sue your personal property; they will sue the property of the LLC. So that is the another benefit of the LLC. Now, in terms of the taxation, so there are 4 5 methods through which we can tax the LLC. So that I will discuss in the future slides. So this is LLC. So as an Indian owner, so you can form the LLC. This is the best choice, or you can form the INC if you want to share, or you can form a partnership firm also. Then this is a comparison I have already which I have given to you. So you can read. So like what is the benefit of the sole proprietor? Like one person, unlimited personal liability, then self-employment taxes you have to pay. So what are self-employment taxes? So if you want to compare the self-employment tax, so you can compare the self-employment tax just like a provident fund and the employee state insurance in India. So just like we are paying the PF and ESI in India. So similarly in US, there is a self-employment tax which is also known as FICA. So in the self-employment, there is the social security and the Medicare taxes. Okay, and the social security is something 14% and Medicare is 6.2%. So that need to be paid by a individual person. Okay, in the partnership, so in the partnership, two or more persons can be there. In the LLC, one or more people can be there. Corporation you can create by one or more person. S corp you can create and in the C corporation you have to pay the corporate tax. In the LLC, whatever the type of legal structure you choose, so accordingly you have to pay the taxes. Now, the taxation of the partnership firm and the S corp is very similar. So, in the S corp, I have told you that whatever the profits which S corp is generating, that profit passed on to the shareholder of the S corporation, and shareholder has to pay the taxes. Okay. So, similarly, in the partnership also, whatever the profits of the partnership firm are there, so that partnership firm also not have to pay the taxes on that. Whatever the profits are there, that profits will be passed on from partnership firm to the partnership firm to the owners of the partnership firm, and that owners has to pay the taxes on same. Okay, so the taxation way of partnership firm and S corporation is very similar. The taxation of C corp is just like that. C corp, there is a flat rate of 21% of tax. So C corp, whatever the profit is there of the C corp, that profit 21% can be has to be paid on the profit. The taxation of the LLC. So in the taxation of the LLC, it depends, because there are 4 or 5 ways in which we can tax the LLC that I will discuss in the future slides. Then taxation of the sole proprietorship. So sole proprietorship firm, yeah, that to be taxed in the individual tax return of the business owner. Okay. Now, what are the advantages of the LLC? So, no limits on the number of the owners. There can be unlimited owners. Profits and losses are passed on to the owner's individual tax return that I will discuss. Please park this point. No annual meetings or minutes books requirement. So, there is no minutes and all those legal statutory documents requirements are there. Then, what are the disadvantages? So, cannot engage in corporate income tax splitting to lower the tax liability. So you can't do a lot of planning and all those things. Cannot issue the stocks. So if you want to issue the shares and all, so you can't do those things in the LLC. Now, what is the advantage of the corporation? You may issue the shares of stock to attract the investors. So you can issue the shares so that you can attract the investors, PE firm, VC firms, and all. Then corporate income tax splitting help lower overall income tax liability. So like people split the income by by showing the salaries, management salary, and all those things, and then they reduce the taxes. The what are the disadvantages? The corporate C corporation tax structure require double taxation. Means when you distribute the income from the C corporation, so you have to pay the double taxes. So how you pay the double taxes? For example, your corporation has earned the net profit of $1 lakh. On that net profit of $1 lakh, you have paid 21% as a tax. Then after that, 89,000 is left. Okay, so 21,000 is tax, and $79,000 is left. Sorry. So in that 79,000, if you want to pass, so again you have to pay the dividend distribution tax. Okay, and then the shareholder who is receiving the dividend also has to pay the taxes on the same. So it is a double taxation. Then the company has to hold the mandatory annual general meetings and record, but there is no filing. You are not supposed to do any filings or not, but it is recommended that yes, you have to hold the AGM. And S corporation has restriction on the number of the owners. In the S corporation, you all know that only 100 owners are allowed. Okay, so this is the disadvantage. Now, this is very important topic. Okay, this is very important slide on which many got confused. That to tax a LLC. So basically, what government is saying, that when you form a LLC, when you incorporate your LLC, after incorporation, you can select the way in which you want to form a. You can select the method in which you want to tax the LLC. So government has given us this this option that we should choose that in which manner, in which way we have to get our LLC taxed. Okay, so first way is the partnership. So we can get our LLC taxed as partnership in which condition our LLC will be taxed as partnership. So see, LLC have two set of status. So as a legal status, the LLC will be treated as a LLC only. So no change in the type of the company. So type of the business entity is a limited liability company. But from the taxation point of view, that LLC will be taxed as a partnership. Okay, so means whatever the provisions of the partnerships are there, all those provisions will be applicable on the LLC for taxing the profits of the LLC. Okay, so in what condition the partner LLC will be taxed as a partnership? Suppose if there are two owners or more than two owners, in that particular case, you can tax your entity, you can tax your LLC as a partnership. And as I already discussed, the income of the partnership will be passed on to the individual person, and individual has to pay the taxes on the same. Then as a C corporation. So LLC can be taxed as a C corporation. So to tax the LLC as a C corporation, you have to file a form 8832 to elect the take a classification, to make a classification, and then you tax your LLC as a C corporation. This is the most common which international owners do, that they tax their LLC as a C corporation. Means whatever the income and expenses of the LLCs are there, that income and expenses will be charged on the form 1120, just like C corporation are being charged, and all the provisions of the C corporation are being applicable on that. Then as a S corporation, if you want to treat your company as a S corporation, so you can file form 2553 and your LLC will be taxed as a S corporation. Now as a disregarded entity, suppose I am an individual owner, okay, and I have created an entity, I have created a LLC. So whatever the profits of the LLC are there, so I will not select C corporation, S corporation or partnership, but I will select as a disregarded company, and the income will be taxed in my individual return. As an individual, I am saying, in this disregarded entity is for only in those cases in which the owner is individual. Okay, owner is single, but there is only single owner in the LLC. Partnership provision will be applicable when there are more than one owner, two owner or three owner. C corporation, S corporation, and disregarded entity provision will be applicable when there can be one owner. So in one owner case also, either you treat your company or your LLC as a separate entity, as a C corporation, or as a disregarded entity. Means in your individual tax return, you count the profits of the LLC. So it is very very common. For example, in India also, what the sole proprietor or business people are doing. That suppose if I am a shop owner, okay, and I have a profit of say 5 lakh rupee or 6 lakh rupee. So when I file my ITR 1, ITR 2 or 3, okay, so I show my individual business profits, okay, that okay, this is my profit as a sole proprietor. So similarly is the concept of the disregarded entity. So whatever the profits of the LLCs are there, you show that profit as a disregarded entity. Then as a foreign entity. So this is a good concept in which you need not to pay even a single tax in the US. Okay, you only just have to file the performer return in the US. There is no tax liability in the, because suppose if I am a owner, I am a business owner, and I have created an entity in the UAE. Suppose I am sitting in India and I am rendering all the services from India. So if I am rendering all the services of India from India, so it is not counted as a US source income, because US source income is only counted when you are doing any business by rendering the services from US. Okay, so I'm sitting in India, I'm doing everything in India. I'm not rendering any services from the US. So my income will technically will not be charged into the US. So in that case, I have only just created to get the US clients. Okay. So in that particular case, I can treat my company as a foreign entity, and I just only have to file a performa return, and whatever the incomes are there and expenses are there, I have to show my home country. Suppose legal, so I will show into my home country. So that is known as the foreign entity concept. So these are the generally choose as a C corporation, LLC as a C corporation. S corporation is ruled out. That is only for the US persons, and as a foreign entity also, or either as disregarded entity. So in the disregarded entity, Indian owners take the item number and file form 1040 NR. Okay, NR is for non-residents. Which type of legal structure is best, LLC, INC, or S corporation? I have already given you the answer. Suppose if you want to attract the investors and all, and if you want to issue the shares, so C corporation is best. Otherwise, LLC is best. Okay. Foreigners can't open the S corp. Okay, that I have already clarified, that S corp only being opened by the US citizens. Now, this is again very important question. What are the best state to form the LLC in the US? So there are basically four states: Delaware, Wyoming, New Mexico, and Nevada. Okay, so these are the four states in which you can form the entity in the US. Now, why these four states only? Because these four states give the liberty. Means what are the types of the liberty they are giving? That you can hide your entity, your identity as a business owner. Means on the incorporation document, the name of the owner will not be there. So if you want to do a business secretly without without showing your name to the public, so you can go into these states. These states laws are very user. Suppose if any company going to see, so the liability of the owner will not be there, and the cases are there more in the favor of the business owner. Then these states protect legal, intellectual property, and they have the user friendly law in the intellectual property as compared to other states. The taxes are not there. Okay, the taxes in the Delaware, in the Wyoming, in the New Mexico, in the Nevada are not there. If I am saying about the taxes, so in the US there are basically two type of the taxes: federal and state. So federal taxes is there in all the 50 states, every state of the US, but the state taxes are not there in several states. So Delaware is one of the state wherein there is no taxes, no state taxes. In the Wyoming also, there are no state taxes on many activities. For example, on the online sales and all, there is no taxes. Then the formation, the annual compliance cost in the Delaware, Wyoming, New Mexico is also low as compared to other states. Suppose if you are doing business in California, in the Texas, in the Florida, in any New York, New Mexico, any big, Washington DC, so you have to pay a lot of state taxes also. So those taxes you can save in these four states. Okay. And this point I've already clarified you. An LLC formed in any state by a non-resident with no US operation or assets does not own the US taxes. So as I already clarified with you to you, that if you are not doing any business in US and you have just opened the LLC only as a showcase, only as a show business, that okay, only suppose in the Indian business community you want to say ki, okay, I have a US entity also. So if you just only showcasing yourself, positioning yourself as an international, business owner, and but you are not doing any business in US, in that case there is no tax liability of the US. Okay, only you have to do the annual compliances, like some few annual compliances are there of the state. That annual compliances you have to do. Okay. Now, this is a question. See, there are many business owners, they are very confused that, okay, if I have incorporated the company in the US, now US government is obliged to give the visa to me. That okay, without having the visa, without going to US, how I can do the business into the US? So, sir, this is your problem. This is not government problem. These are separate rules. Incorporating the company, getting the visa, both are very different. Both are very different. There is no relationship that if you incorporate a company, say by spending 1 lakh or 2 lakh, whatever the fee, so like you, there is a guarantee that you can get any visa. there is no guarantee, there is no relationship. You have to, you have to, you know, give the interview, you have to follow all the USCIS process, and then suitability check and all those things are there, then only they will get give the visa, otherwise not. So forming any kind of LLC or INC or partnership firm or S corp, any kind of entity, doesn't guarantee that you can get the visa in the US. So that should be very clear to you as well as all the clients, your clients. Then there is a concept of federal EIN. So what is federal EIN? So federal EIN is equivalent to the PAN number. Okay. So in India, we have number of all the individuals and all the business owners. So there is a in the employer identification number. Okay, this is the 9-digit number. This is issued by the IRS. Okay, so this is important because any any invoice which you issue to your client, so this EIN number should be mandatory written. Any tax return you file, this EIN number is mandatory. So EIN is mandatory in all the places, just like PAN number is mandatory. Now, as a foreign owner, if you want to apply for the EIN, you do 25 days. Now, I'm just discussing the timeline also for incorporating the company into the US. So the timeline is 4 to 5 days after all the documents to the professional firm. So suppose if you provide all the documents to us, so like within 4 to 5 days, the company will get formed. After that, within 20 to 25 days, EIN will get issued. Okay. So because EIN is a manual process for foreign owners, so we have to manually send the document to the IRS. Okay, Internal Revenue Services, which is equivalent to the Income Tax Department of India. Okay, and the IRS issue the EIN number, which is equivalent to the PAN number. And once you get the EIN letter, okay, so they issue the EIN letter, and once you get the EIN letter, so you can use that EIN number at all the places, like tax return filing, invoices, giving to any vendor, and all those things. So you can use that. Now, what is an ITIN number? So ITIN is equivalent to the PAN number only. So ITIN number is issued to the foreign owners, business owner who want to get, who has the tax liability of the US and who has to file the tax return in the US. So for those people, ITIN has to be issued. So suppose you can assume that suppose if I go to US tomorrow and I am working for a US company, okay, and I'm not eligible for, suppose I'm a non-resident in US, okay, in that particular case, I can apply for an IT number and I can file the tax return. For example, in the LLC, suppose I am a single person, okay, I have created Sanket Taxes LLC, Sanket Tax Savers. Suppose I have created this kind of LLC, and I have chosen this LLC as a disregarded entity. So to whatever the profits of this LLCs are there, that need to be passed on to my individual US tax return. So to file the individual US tax return, I don't have the social security number, so I need the IT number, individual tax identification number. And when I get the individual tax identification number, then I will file form 1040 NR, non-resident, and I can file the tax return by showing the profits of the LLC in my personal return and getting the slab benefits. So that is the main purpose of the ITIN. Another purpose of the ITIN is many a times to get the bank account open. So there are various banks. So some bank can ask you that okay, you are an international owner, but still we require the ITIN number. So that can be possible. So in that case, we have to get the ITIN number. Uh, the time for ITIN number is 60 to 65 days. So within 60 to 65 days, we get the ITIN letter, ITIN number. So we have to apply in form W7 and manually through the CAA. We are the CAA also. So we used to get the ITIN applied for the clients. Okay. So for that, passport is required to US, and then they issue the ITIN number within 60 to 65 days. Now, what is the main process to set up the entity in the US? So first you have to choose the company name, you have to appoint a professional firm, and you have to submit the documents, and then professional firm will submit the document to the state government. Then state government reviews the document, and if the document is fine, every information is okay, then they issue the incorporation certificate and the certificate number. Okay, this is the simple process. Now, this is another hot topic in the US, that how to do the banking in the US. What are the various ways to do the banking in the US? So I have classified that into five different categories. So there are online neo banks, then there are physical US bank accounts, then Indian banks with US branches. Indian banks with US branches means Indian banks are there having branches in the United States. Then international banks with US branches. Then money service businesses. These five, these are five are the categories through which we are doing the banking in the US. So what are the online banks? So online banks are basically the fintech companies. They have the tie up with the main bank. For example, Relay is there. So Relay is one of the fintech company. Relay has done tie up with the Thread Bank. Okay, now now we as a foreign can create the account in and Relay will submit the document to the Thread Bank, and Thread Bank will give us the account and the routing number. So what is routing number? So routing number you can count as a IFSC. So routing number means the IFSC code. Sorry. So Thread Bank will give a routing number and the account number. So neobank are like the actual banks. Only the difference is that there is no physical movement. Like you can't go to bank and there is no physical interaction. All the things are virtual. Okay, all the things are virtual. And neobanks are basically FDIC approved. Means these fintech companies are basically Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation insured. What is FDIC? So FDIC is a US government office. So as in India, if you are having a saving account and if that bank collapse, so government Reserve Bank of India will give 5 lakh rupee as an insurance to the saving account holder. Similarly, in the US, if the bank collapse, in that particular case, FDIC will give the up to $3 lakh to each and every account holders. If the bank collapse, that is known as the FDIC. So FDIC gives the insurance that if the bank collapse, then we will give three up to $3 lakh. It doesn't mean that everyone will get the $3 lakh. Suppose if I am having less amount in my bank account, so I will get up to that much amount only. Okay, means up to $3 lakh they are giving the insurance. So suppose if anyone is having 6 lakh to $7 lakh in their bank account, so the out of that $7 lakh, only 3 lakh is insured, rest will be gone. But if the person is having less than $3 lakh, so that lesser amount will be insured and will be given to that particular person. So these are not neo banks. Now only this I have already discussed with you that neo banks you can't go to the bank and everything will be done online. So there are basically five types of the neo banks mainly which are as of now running. So Mercury Bank is there, Relay is there. So these are the fintech companies, but to be as a acronym we say these as a banks, but these are the fintech companies who have the association with the banks. So Mercury Bank is there, Relay Bank is there, Novel Bank is there, Lily is there, and Novo is there. These are the website links. So you can once you incorporate your company, you can submit the document in the banks, and they get your account opened within 2 to 3 days. Okay. Then there are physical banks. So physical banks are also there. Now, what is physical banks? So physical banks means you can go to the branches, you can bank and all, and you can get your bank account opened. But the main disadvantage of the physical bank is that you have to visit to the United States. So if you want to get your bank account opened, you have to go to the United States. Okay. So suppose now what is the strategy I used to follow, which we used to follow in the physical bank account. For example, suppose I am right now there in India. I have opened a bank account in Mercury Bank, but I the bank account in Chase Bank or in the Capital Bank. I have the visa. I have to go next to United States. So what I'll do is that I will take an appointment from the person in the US. I will exchange all the document in advance with that person, and I will once I will be landed to the US. So I will directly go to the bank and do the physical verification and all, and my account will get active. In this case also, there can be possibility that one bank in the last can deny your bank account. Okay, so it is advisable that you can two to three banks. For example, TD Bank, Chase Bank, Wells Fargo. So out of three banks can't deny. Okay, if three banks are denying your bank account, then there is definitely problem in your document. Otherwise, out of those three, one or two can accept your application and will get your account opened. So this is the strategy for the physical banks. But it can be possible if you go into the US. By sitting in India, is it's not possible to get this bank account opened. One more thing is that suppose there are two business owners. Okay, now both are 50-50% owners. One is sitting in India, one is sitting in US. Now it is also not possible that US person can individually go and get the bank account opened, because that Indian person is holding 50%. So more than 90% shareholders should be, or the business owner should be present physically. So this combination also not working. Okay, or doesn't work. Indian banks with the US branches, as per the Reserve Bank of India, and as per the Google also, means I have checked in the Reserve Bank of India also, there are only five banks have the branches in the US: Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, ICICI, SBI, and Canara Bank. In which SBI has the major branches in California. Means SBI has around 8 to 9 offices in the US, and all these other banks have only one offices in the US. So suppose if you want to get account open in these branches, so you can go to these branches and get your bank account open. Means you can go to Indian bank, and Indian bank manager or the relationship person will get you connected with the US bank, and that US bank will open your account. Or you can also directly go to the US bank and get your account opened. So if you want to get this, so you can go to State Bank of India, because in this the they have the lot of branches. So the possibility and chances of getting the bank account open easily and faster is higher in the State Bank of India as compared to other banks. Only the problem in this is that the transaction charges are very high. The transaction charges are very high. So suppose if you receive $10,000 as a remittance, so on that $10,000 you have to pay higher transaction charges as compared to the US local bank. Then another disadvantage of this is that they don't have the tie-up with the IRS and all. So suppose if you have to pay any local taxes in the US, in that case you have to take the help of the professional firm of the third party. Then only those third party or professional firm can pay the taxes. Okay, you as a company directly can't pay the taxes, because these banks doesn't have the relationship with the IRS on the banking part. Then there are some international banks with US branches for bank account opening. For example, the HSBC Bank, Citibank, Standard Chartered, Barclays, Deutsche Bank. You can get your bank account opened by visiting into the Indian branches of these banks. But the main disadvantage is that the minimum fund, because in these Bank of India or the physical bank or the neo banks, the minimum balance is zero. The minimum balance is zero or up to $1,000 or $2,000 maximum. In neobanks, mainly it is zero. The minimum balance is zero in the neobanks. In the physical US bank also, the minimum balance requirement is zero. In these banks, it is very low. But in these banks, the minimum balance is say $25,000, $30,000, like that. So on that front, the small business owners many a times can't afford these banks. But yeah, possibility of bank account opening in these banks is always there. I hope I'm just clarifying everything and you all are grasping everything. Then there are money service business accounts. See, people are normally confused between these money service business accounts and the bank account. See, this Wise, PayPal, Pioneer, Airwallex, Revolt, Stripe, and Remitly, or some other these kind of platform. They are not banks. they are not banks. They are only just money collectors. Okay, because what you are doing is that suppose if you open an account in bank Wise, so what you are doing technically, if you are having already your bank account, you are connecting your bank account with Wise so that Wise can collect the international currencies, convert the currencies in your home country, and then credit the amount in your bank account. I will give you a simple example. Suppose I am an Indian company. Okay, I have a bank account in Yes Bank. Okay, I have a bank account in the INR. I have a European client. Okay, who is sitting in Switzerland or any another country. I have given any kind of services to that particular client. That particular client has to pay the amount in the euros. Okay, now I am having a Indian bank account. So there can be the forex differences, or that person doesn't want to get the bank involved in this. I will do that. Vice will collect the amount on my behalf, and Vice will convert the amount into INR and will credit the amount into my account by charging 3 to 4%. Airbolex or other companies. So these Stripe, all these are not banks. Okay, people are normally confused that okay, yes, these are banks. Many professionals what they are doing, okay, we have just get your bank account, Vice account opened. But Vice account is not a bank account. If you have opened a Vice account, okay, so you have to link that Vice account with your bank. Okay, so that bank account has to be opened for the US company. Without opening the bank account, it is not considered that yes, you have opened the bank account. We should be very clear on this. Now, so these are the basic type of the banks. We can follow anything based on the operations and based on the charges and all. You can also do the negotiations with the banks, and based on the negotiations also, you can have a best rate on the charges and all. Then virtual business US numbers. So suppose if you have a US company, so definitely you also require a US number, because you require a US phone number so that you can do the communication in the US number also. And the US clients also always want that the number from which they are being called is a US number. Okay, so you can take the US number, virtual US number from these companies: Sonatel, Qualipo, and Might Call, Chris Call, Hush. There are another companies also. So they are charging between 800 to 1000 rupees a month, and they will give you the virtual number. Wherein through the internet you can do the unlimited calling to the US. Okay. Then virtual US office service provider. If you want to take the virtual US office, so you can take the office, from these companies: VPM, iPostal, Regus is there, Postman is there, Anytime Mailbox and all. So there are multiple companies through which you can take the virtual US offices. Okay, and you can get your physical presence also, and then additional office. And the costing is from say 2000 rupees a month to 20,000 or 30,000, depending upon the type of the services you require, you take from the company. Then importing the goods by the US entity. So suppose if you import the goods, so you can do the import. So there are, this is a very simple concept in US, irrespective of the India. So you should have a valid FIN number, okay, means Federal Employer Identification Number. So you can obtain a importer number. So importer number is basically the EIN number. You can have a custom broker, and you can determine the tariffs and all, and you can prepare the commercial invoice which we are preparing. Okay, complete all the security filing and the entry documentation, pay all the duties and all, and import the goods. Then what are the major type of taxes in the US? So basically the federal income tax, state tax, and the franchisee tax. Tax is charged on the corporation. This is 21% flat on the net profits. State income tax varied from 5% to 13% based on the states. In some states there are no state income taxes. And what is a franchisee tax? Some states are charging the franchisee tax because they are saying that you are doing the business in our state, we are providing lot of this facilities, so we will be charging the franchisee tax. For example, delivery is charging the franchisee tax. Okay, and it is varies from state to state. For example, delivery is charging $300 on the LLC as a franchisee tax. On the INC, they are charging 450 minimum as a franchisee tax, and some additional amount based on the capital and the value of the assets. So federal income tax, as we already discussed on the C corporations, it is 21% federal income tax. Then the state income tax varied from state to state. Now state income tax is not charged on every state or on every company. To charge the state income tax, you have to see the economic nexus and the physical nexus. So what is economic nexus? Suppose if you are selling the goods into any particular state, so you have to see that what is the total amount of sales or the number of transactions. So based on the total amount of sales or the number of the transactions, which are the state income taxes. Okay, so that is known as the economic nexus. What is known as the physical nexus? So in the physical nexus, we see that if you are having any physical office or physical property, employee is there, or any payroll you are running, any performance of service you are doing from any state, in that particular case, physical nexus will be there, and then state income tax will be charged. On the online service providers, state income tax is not charged, because if you are selling through Amazon or Etsy or any Walmart and all, so they are collecting the sales tax. They are collecting the sales tax because they are registered in all the states, and they are paying the sales tax on your behalf. But if you are doing directly by yourself, in that case you have to pay the sales tax. Okay, you have to get it yourself registered and pay the sales tax. So basically, in the online selling of product and online selling of services, normally there is no sales tax on online selling of services in the US. But on the online selling of product, if you are selling, say in these states, for example, in Delaware and all, there is no sales tax. But if you are selling in other states, so you have to check the economic nexus and the physical nexus. If the economic nexus is there, physical nexus is there, you are selling by yourself directly, in that case sales tax is charged. If you are selling through Amazon or the Etsy or the Walmart kind of website, so they are collecting the sales tax on your behalf and paying to the government. Now, which state doesn't charge the sales tax? So there are 9 states. Okay, so there are nomads states. So nomads means Alaska, Delaware, Montana, New Hampshire, and Oregon. So the first word of these known as the nomads. So these are not charging the state sales tax. Means when you selling the goods into these states, so there is no chargeability of sales tax in these states. Franchisee tax, as I already discussed, the franchisee tax is a tax which is levied because you are doing the business into these states. So there are basically 9 to 10 states, for example, Delaware, Alabama, Arkansas, Illinois, Georgia, Louisiana, Missouri, Mississippi, North Carolina, Oklahoma, New York, Texas, Tennessee, so West Virginia. So they are charging the franchisee tax. Other are charging the annual report fees. So there is an annual report. So the states which are not charging a franchisee tax, so those states are charging the annual report fee. So suppose, for example, if you are living in, if you are having a company in Wyoming, so they are not charging the franchisee tax, but there is another kind of tax which is known as the there is a state filing fees, which is a fixed state filing fee. For example, say $60 in Wyoming, $800 in California, because it's a big state and all. So those kind of charges you have to pay. In taxes, it is also $50 and all. Then withholding tax compliances. What is a withholding tax? For example, if US company is paying any amount to any foreign company, so in that particular case, the US company has to deduct the 30% taxes. Okay. Suppose there is a Indian company A and there is a US company B. Now A has provided any services to B. So in that particular case, when we will make the payment to A, so we will be charging 30% tax rate. To avoid the 30%, what A has to do? A has to file form 8Ben E, W8Ben E. If the 8Ben E form file means 8 beneficial entity. Okay. So if you file the 8 Ben E form, then we will mean the US company will not charge the withholding taxes. Suppose if in case of A, there is a individual person, say C or D or B. So if the individual person is there, then that individual person will have to file the form 810 to avoid the taxes. Otherwise, US company will charge the 30% tax. These are the US major federal tax forms with the due dates. W2 is a form which is issued to US employees. The last date to issue the form is 31st January. So what is form W2? So form W2 is just like a form 16 you can compare. Then form 1099. So form 1099 is issued to contractor which is like equivalent to form 16A. Then form 7004. So in the US, if you won't file the tax return on time, then you have to take the extension of 6 months. Okay. And to take the extension, you have to file form 7004 and form 4868. 4868 is for individual, 700 form for company. Okay. So this is for company, not for individual. And the last date is 15th April for this and 15th April for this. Now form 1065 is filed by the partnership firm, 1120S is filed by the S Corp, 1120 is filed by the C Corp, and 104 is filed by the individual, and 1040 NR is filed by the non-resident. Basically, as an international person, this 1040 NR, 1120 and 1065 is majorly applicable on us. But if you are making any payment to any US contractor, then you have to also show the form 1099. And if you hired any employee in the US who is a US citizen and all, you are paying US citizen or US resident. In that case, form W2 is also required to be filed in the US. Then auditing. So auditing is not required in the US. Okay, as per the US GAAP, only listed companies and few financial institutions, banks and all, only required to get their bank account, back, has to get their books of account audited. Okay, so normally private limited companies, these LLC, private corporations and all are not mandatorily required to get their bank books of account audited. Only they get their books of account audited in that particular case if they are raising the funds. Okay, if they are raising the funds or if there is any due diligence activities and all, in that case, you get your accounts audited. Otherwise, it's very expensive. You are not supposed to get a bank of books audited. Cash repatriation active strategies. Suppose if you have lot of profit in the US entity, then how to bring the cash back to India or India and other foreign countries. So dividend, interest, royalty, management fee, capital reduction, share buyback, loans, IP royalty agreement, or any another form. These are just tentative ways. Then Indian associate entities in the US. So suppose if you have Indian entity also. Suppose if there is any Indian entity who have the US holding or subsidiary company. In that case, you have to follow the Indian company compliance also along with the US company. So for that, you have to check the US India Associate Enterprise Test. So what is the US India Enterprise Test? Suppose if you have done any transaction during the fiscal year uh, between US entity and the Indian entity, then it is known as then it is said that okay, Associate Enterprise Test has satisfied, and you have to follow the transfer pricing compliance also. In that transfer pricing, audit reports and all also you have to take. Acha, one more thing is that in US, what is the financial year? So there can be two type of the majorly financial year. So the major financial year in the US is January to December. So means normally all companies follow Jan to December as a financial year. But if you want, you can also follow the fiscal year from April to March. So suppose if you have any relationship with the Indian company, okay, of the US company, or if you want to do make the transactions and all. So to sync the books of US company with the Indian company, you can choose the fiscal year also from April to March. Otherwise, normally company choose from Jan to December. Now, if you have the associate enterprise, means there is a US India company, means a relationship between the US company and the Indian company, and both the company has to pass on the amount. Means either the US company sending the money to India or Indian company has to send the money to US. So in both the cases, you can do various kind of the agreement. For example, sales based sales commission agreement, referral fee agreement, advertising agreement, marketing fee agreement, support fee agreement, success fee agreement, acquisition agreement, service fee, consultancy fee, product sale, any kind of agreement. I mean, these are the tentative agreement I have just given. So these kind of agreement both companies can do. Okay, inter company agreement they can do, and then they can do the transaction. And when they do these, when they do these agreement, so you can also get it benchmark study done, so that whatever the profits you are charging, that should be on an arm length price. Otherwise, you will get the problem in the Indian market and in the Indian income tax. Okay. Then place of effective management. What is point? So place of effective management is a concept of the India. Okay. For example, my name is Sanket. I am living in India. I have an Indian company named as ABC. Now I have opened another company named as PQR in the US. I have never been to US. I am not planning to go into US, and I am sitting in Delhi. I am managing my two firms, one in US and one in India. Okay, and whatever the decisions are there, I am taking all the decisions by sitting from India only. So technically, I my US company will be taxed in India because of the place of the effective management. But this is exempt up to 50 crore. So if my US company turnover is up to 50 crore, means equivalent to USD US $6 million. So in that case, this point will not be affected, not be applicable. So if my US company turnover is up to 50 crore, then place of effective management will not be applicable. If government use this limit in the near future, suppose if they have done say 1 crore or 2 crore rupees, this limit. So in that case, 99% will US companies owners will have to get their US company taxed into India. Okay, but as of now, the limit is 50 crore, so no company will get taxed. Now, another concept known as the overseas direct investment. So, what is ODI? When you form your LLC or when you form your INC, so you have to show the minimum capital also. So, in the US, there is no concept of the minimum capital, that you have to keep $1,000 as a minimum capital, $100 as a minimum capital. You can keep $1 also as a minimum capital. But technically, suppose if you are not a service provider company, or if you require fund in the US to do the expenditure in the United States, so you have to raise the fund by through the capital only. Means either you have to put in your own capital into the US. Okay, so to keep your own capital into the US, you have to do the overseas direct investment. So what is ODI? Suppose I am an Indian owner, my name is A. Okay, I have incorporated a INC into the US. So suppose if I have subscribed 1,000 stocks of the US company, so and the value of one stock is $10. So 10,000 stocks, 10,000 is the capital value which I have to pass on to the INC. So I have to take the ODI route, overseas direct investment route. Okay, so in this, I have to approach to the RBI through the AD bank, and that my AD bank will get the remittance done into the US company. Now this remittance should also be done very faster, very quickly, because if you are doing remittance after a long period of time, then you have to face the condonation of delay charges and all those things. So you have to do the remittance as quickly as possible. Now there are some permissible routes or permissible transactions and all as per the Reserve Bank of India. So this we have to follow, and there are some permissible limits also. These are for the company. For example, the financial commitment shall not exceed 400% of the net worth as per the last audited balance sheet. Means you can't do the commitment of more than 400%. Then real estate activity, gaming, financial product, and all those are the prohibited sectors, or the step down subsidiaries, etc., are the prohibited sectors. Now into ODI, there are two kind of approaches which Indian people are doing in the ODI. So some people are doing the ODI. Sorry. So some people are doing the ODI and some people are not doing the ODI. So that's upon your own wish. So see, I have checked the latest RBI data of last month. So only 700 plus companies are there. Those 700 companies have done the ODI. And the 700 companies, I am not talking only about US. I'm talking about all other regions also. Out of the 700 companies, only 191 companies, 191 companies of the US, means 191 owners who has the companies in the US has done the ODI investment. Others are not doing. So it is completely, very subjective, that whether you are doing ODI or not. Government is also very lenient in all these things, but when you repatriate the fund and all, so it might create some problem in the future. But there is again a gray area in this, and government is not strict as of now in this ODI things. Now, so as I already told you that some people are doing ODI and some are not doing. So this you have to see accordingly. This is the yearly mandatory statutory checklist compliances which you have to do. So if I talk about the US company, so means the professional service firm to who will incorporate your company will also give you the virtual address. So that virtual address renewal has to be done yearly. Franchisee tax has to be done yearly. Return filing has to be done yearly. State return, if there is any, then that has to be done yearly. Employee tax return is there, that need to be done yearly. Okay, or information return is also there, 5472, that need to be filed yearly. Then F bar is there. What is F bar? So basically, if any US company is having any foreign bank account, it is known as the F bar. So in that case, they have to report to the FinCEN authority in the F bar form. So it is known as the F bar. Then tax residency certificate they have to take. Then beneficial owner information report. Also, you have to, your US entity has to file. And similarly, Indian company has to file all these things. You all know that I'm not nothing to discuss in this. So if you as a business owner or your client as a business owner is running the US company and the Indian company, so they have to follow minimum these require your these compliances. Okay, there can be another new compliances. For example, share dematerialization. This is the new compliance which has came, in which suppose the shares are there, those suppose if Indian company is there and US company is there, both the company has the relationship of holding subsidiary and all. So as per the Indian Companies Act, that is known considered as a small company, and you have to get your shares dematerialized. Okay, so all these things you have to, as a professional, you have to consider and you have to check. In the last, suppose if you or your client is having US company and Indian company, both have done the transactions and all, so you have to follow the some of the guidance as per us, before finalizing the books of account and before finalizing the tax returns. Suppose in the GST, all the invoices raised to the US entity or interrelated entity should be entered. All the withholding compliances should be done. All the transactions should be reconciled. All the intercompany balances should be reconciled. All the transactions should be done on the benchmarking prices, so that transfer pricing impact, effect can be eliminated. Okay, and whatever the estimated taxes and all are there should be paid. So if you have to make any adjustments and all, so everything you have to compare. Okay, now normally there is a 3 month gap between the US company and the Indian company. How it is a 3 month gap? For example, the calendar year, US company follow the calendar year, Indian company follow the financial year. So there will be always a 3 month gap. So you have to accordingly manage the books in manner considering both the things. Okay, and if you are following the fiscal year, for example, April to March, in that particular case, there is no problem. You can continue as it is like that, and means you can reconcile at the end of March and file the tax return. So that's all from my side in this. If you still have questions, so we have half hour left. We can discuss in this half hour all the Q&A and query, and whatever the things are there, we can discuss. hope you like the presentation and you got some insights and that how to do the business in US. And now we can discuss the questions.
Thank you so much, Sanketji, for taking the such a long session continuous. If had been if had been my side, I would have taken a break for 5 to 10 minutes at least. In that case, we can start with the session for question and answers. I'll just start with the showing of the comment section as well. Guys, whosoever is having some questions, they can start asking the questions, and we have some of the questions already in the comment box. So, Mr. Gopi Kishore, Sanketji, Mr. Gopi Kishore has asked election to be treated as C Corp or S Corp by LLC has to be filed. I think, hope, I believe you might be able to be able to check this query as well. If you can go through the chat box.
Just a minute, sir.
San- Yeah, please open the chat box
Uh,
and you will be able to see all the queries.
okay. From the private chat.
Uh, just a second. Let me open it here in front of everyone. Just a second. I'll just put the things again in the comment box. Just a second. See, if you can see on the screen, one of the queries has been asked by Mr.
Can we
Aditya.
register US
Can
company from
Yeah.
India through online? Yes, sir. You can register the company from India through online, but you require a professional form because the reason is that in the online websites you can go and you can see that lot of persons are there. They are saying, okay, in $20 we will incorporate and all. But the problem is that they are not giving you the entire picture. Suppose if you come to us, I'm not saying you come to us, but what I'm saying that if you come to us, so we as a CA firm and as a professional firm will give you the holistic picture that okay sir, this is your total cost. But in the online firms, what they are doing is that they are saying okay, that $50 is for this, $100 is for this, and then slowly they are charging. But we are giving the entire one cost. Directly you can't register by yourself because there are a lot of things in which you require the US assistance. We already have a setup in US. We have formed more than 500 LLCs and companies successfully and happily into the US. So we have that kind of experience. So directly directly you can't do, because if you do, so you have to do a lot of these things wherein you burn the money. So I advise, don't directly do by yourself if you are not into the US domain or you are not in being to the US domain. Either take a help for anyone, with anyone.
Okay.
How to get a virtual address? So, sir, ma'am, I have already told you that to get a virtual address, there are many websites. Okay, for example, Anytime Mailbox or iPostal is there, or another Regus is there. So you can go there, you can submit your document, you can show your document, and after that, they will charge you monthly, and you will get your virtual address on a monthly basis. What are the things should be taken care before finalizing professional firm? What are the total government fee for incorporating LLC in the Wyoming? So to finalize the professional firm, you have to see the experience of the professional who are doing the work, and you have to see what service they are rendering. Either they are rendering everything in under one roof or not, and that is also based on your personal relationship, your gut feeling. I can't say that these are the basic criteria, or you can go to this form only. So that is completely based on you, that you have to. And see, government fees in every state for the LLC based on state to state, there are another charges apart from the government fees. So only government fees is not largely that okay, this is the government fee. There are many kind of fees. For example, the virtual office fees is there, the certification fees is there, notary fees is there. So another kind of fees are there. In the If you talk about the LLC in the Wyoming, so Wyoming is charging approximately $150 for the as a government fees. But again, this $150, only this government fees is not there. As I mentioned, already told, another fees or cost is also to form a company. Only just by paying government fees you can form a company. Can we file the tax return in India for US citizens? Sir, means if you have the knowledge of US taxes, if you have the good experience of the US tax, so, and you get the work from the US clients, so definitely you can file the tax return from the US, because again, as I already told, set up your. See, personally speaking, I have spent a lot of time in getting the resources, because there are a lot of restrictions. So there are a lot of restrictions. There are a lot of various type of restrictions you have to follow. That's why so can you please put a breakup of total fees? The breakup of total fees, I can definitely provide that what is the type of the package you are connecting. Okay, just hold on. So it's completely based on what is the type of the package you are taking. So based on that, I will give you. Like India, we need to apply name for US company, or we can choose a name and proceed for it registration. So sir, basically you have to give 3 to 4 names, okay, based on the priority. We check those names and then we will let you that what names are available, because many a times names are also not available. Can we transfer money as loan to US corporations? Sir, yes, you can transfer money as a loan to US corporation, but for that you have to do the compliance of the Indian Reserve Bank of India. Okay. How will I travel to US if I set up company in the US without a visa? As you mentioned, there will be no assistance in this regard. So, sir, you have to separately apply for the visa, na? Suppose if I am also having a company in the US, okay, and if I want to go to US, so I have to separately apply a visa. If I got the visa, I will go to US. If I won't get the visa, I will not go to US. Okay. What are the annual compliances for LLC in Wyoming and due date for the same? So, for annual compliances, I have already discussed with you that there are minimum annual compliances. For example, the annual return you have to file in the Wyoming, the LLC kind of structure you have to select, that what kind of structure you have selected, as a C corp, as a S corp, or as a LLC, as a partnership, as a disregarded entity. Mainly the due dates is 15th April. Okay, uh, for most of the companies. Okay, like that. In Wyoming, suppose if you say, like, if I give the breakup, suppose if we are charging say $500 for the Wyoming. Okay, so in the $500, like 150 is the government fees, then there is a virtual fee, a virtual registered agent fee, virtual office fees of of $150. Then there is $100 of other notarization and all, so it's like $400, something like that. Then there is another question: green card holders plus non-resident, which type of US companies suggested this company is into tax and accounting related? Sir, if you are a green card holder and non-resident, so you can either select a LLC or a ISC. You can't go for the C corp. Sorry, S corp. You can't go for the S corp. Sorry, my bad. See, as a non-resident, LLC or INC is best. No other kind of company is best. Option is best. Sir, if you select April to March as a fiscal year, so after March plus 3.5 month means you have to then finalize the books of account in up to 15th June. Is there any difference procedure if a Swiss company wants to incorporate a US company? Sir, the procedure is same as a foreigner. Either you are an Indian citizen, you are a Swiss national or an Indian national. Procedure is same everyone. I worked for the German clients, I worked for the European clients, Swiss clients, and Belgium clients, Italian clients, Indian clients, then Asian client, Malaysian, Singaporean, and all. So the procedure is same everywhere. Sir, there is one question in the group is that if you can't go, how you commence the operation? Sir, you commence the operation virtually because people are commencing the operation virtually because everyone is not going to US because going into the US is very expensive. Then living into the US is again very expensive. So 90% people are 90% people are doing the business into US. Suppose if you want to live into the US, so at least you require minimum 300 $3,000 a month if you are living in a small Airbnb kind uh, you know type of accommodation. Means 3,000 is the minimum amount if you are living into the US. Okay, without doing any additional expenses like without going to Las Vegas, Hawaii, or any another place. Okay, so most of the people are doing the business online remotely. That is the main charm. That is the main essence that people are working from India. See, it is why it is not good that if you are sitting in India and earning in the US dollars and getting the advantage and edge of the foreign exchange. This is the advantage. But again, if you want to go to US, so there are different kind of visa. Like you can take the L1 visa. L1 visa is very easy, but the cost is 12 to 13 lakh rupees. But you can get the L1 visa very easily. And after L1 visa, within 2 to 3 years, you can get the green card also. So many a time people take the L1 visa as a route to go to US. Then what are the documents required for registering the LLC? So, sir, documents required. So there are various kind of document. For example, the means the owner name, the owner passport, PAN card, Aadhaar card. We take those things. Okay, so there are basic document, basic KYC documents and all. So we have the a form and checklist. I will share with you. Which option is best? C corp of LLC. So C corp or LLC, as I already told you, ma'am, that if you want to, raise the funds from the US, okay, in that particular case, you can go for the C corporation. But if you don't want to raise the fund from the US, so LLC is best, and you can treat that LLC for as a C corp for taxation purpose. What are the due dates of compliance? That is tax return and annual return. So tax return mainly is 15th April. So 15th April is the due date for 1120 form, which is the corporate tax return, and annual return is the annual return is of the state in which the franchisee tax are not there. That is based on state to state. Okay, in some state the annual return is to be filed on the anniversary date of the company. Suppose if I have incorporated the company on 16th May, so I have to file the tax return, annual return on next of 16th. Try to understand the point there. If the person is investing the amount to open a company, then he has the financial capacity. Uh, okay. Sir, I am not getting you, sir. I am just simply saying that it's not about the cost. I am saying, see, it's about the capacity of everyone. See, suppose there are 10 clients. You think as a professional. I am thinking as a professional. Suppose I have 10 clients. Okay. So I can't say that every client is having the same capacity or same appetite, sir. One client can pay more, another client can pay, can pay less than that person. So it's completely very dynamic. Visa, getting the visa, obtaining the visa, and all those things are very separate. You pay, you get a visa. I am not denying that you can't apply for L1 or an L2 or any visa. You can apply, you can take the L1 or L2 visa. So I'm not denying that, but I'm saying as a normal Indian small business owner, the cost is very high. See, 12 and 13 lakh means many people are going for EB5 visa. EB5 visa is 1.05 million investment. So many people are doing that investment also, sir. Many people are doing that investment also. So it's not about the costing and all. It's all about what is your business model, what is your need and all. According to you, that now another question. Also, what are the charges to set up virtual office? So virtual office means, ma'am, it's completely depend upon the type of the facility you require. So from virtual office, if I refer iPostal, so iPostal are charging from $15 a month to $250 a month. Okay, so in the $250, they are giving you the phone service, they are giving you the scanning service, they are giving you the virtual office service, they are giving you the nameplate service, they are giving you the office receptionist service. So it's completely based on, it's completely based on your requirement, that up to what level of requirement you are having, and accordingly you can take that. Can a green card holder and a non-resident both start a company? Yes, definitely. A green card holder and non-resident can both start a company. Only C corp they can do, LLC they can do, but S corp they can't do. They cannot do S corp. They cannot do S corp. Can we transfer money as a loan to? Okay, this we have already taken. Can we transfer money as a loan to U.S. corporation? Sir, yes, I have already given you the answer that yes, you can transfer money as a loan to U.S. corporation from your Indian company, okay, or as an individual also, but you have to consider the Indian ODI guidelines, okay, overseas direct investment guidelines. You have to follow that, okay. What are the further questions?
I believe everyone's queries have been answered till now. If anyone has still further queries, we have some fat 10 minutes left, and then we shall end up the session. Guys, you can register for the bonus part as well. Whosoever is looking for the PowerPoint presentation which we have shared, which we have shown in this particular session, you can claim that slide into the bonus section. You can register for the bonus section, and you will receive the mail from our side as soon as you register for the same. Thank you. I believe Sanketji, everyone's query has been resolved.
So last question is that when we can expect webinar on how to incorporate companies in the US. So ma'am, sir, I have already discussed with you that you require a professional firm because there are a lot of these things. So either directly by sitting in from India, you can't open a company because there, as I already told you that there are a lot of these things which is required, lot of setup is required. And if you go for an online company, then in online company they what they are doing is that they are charging the amount in bits and pieces, and ultimately you will be ending paying a lot of this charges. So it's like that.
Okay, then, Sanketji, thank you so much for being a part of this session and giving the guidance to all for the US part. Rakesh, you can try to register for the bonus. I believe nobody is facing the issues in registering for the bonus. Maybe you can try to do it and come back to us if you are still not able to register. So, thank you so much, everyone, for attending this session. Thank you, Sanketji, once again.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, guys. Bye, all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Yeah, thank you, sir.